Welcome to Chapter 2 of your textbook and to this mini lecture, which is going to review the contents of your ICD-9 codebook. When learning any new skill, it is necessary to learn some fundamentals that should help better understand the process. In coding, our first step is to learn to use the conventions and layout, references and resources available in our codebooks. This mini lecture has two parts to it. The first will cover Alphabetic Index, the second the tabular. So make sure you stay tuned for both. So the ICD-9 codebook is laid out into 3 volumes. The first two, Alphabetic Index of Diseases and Injuries and your tabular list, are the same whether it's for ICD-9 or ICD-10. So the basic steps and conventions you're learning will also apply to ICD-10. Any differences will be reviewed in the ICD-9 inpatient coding module at a later time. The Alphabetic Index starts after the coding guidelines at the front of your codebook. The tabular index has colored tabs and starts with Section 1, Infectious and Parasitic Diseases 001, Cholera. Pause this recording if necessary to locate the alpha and tabular list in your codebook. Volume 3 is used for inpatient procedures only, such as an appendectomy or another operation that's done only in the inpatient setting. This is one of the major differences between ICD-9 and ICD-10 code sets, is that in ICD-10, your inpatient procedure coding is used with this brand new code set. The alphabetical index is laid out with main terms first, which are printed in boldface, followed by code numbers. Then sometimes there's words included into parentheses which are next to the main term, which means that these are non-essential modifiers and the words in the parentheses are included in that category code. Beneath the main term are subterms or essential modifiers. They provide additional information such as the etiology of the disease or other conditions that may impact the code selection. The alphabetical index is used as your first step in the coding process, and there is multiple steps. One important aspect to realize is that it is organized by condition and disease and not by body part, which means you cannot locate something by looking for elbow or finger or femur. Also, it's very important that the coder pays attention to the indentions. Your subterms are indented and also carryover lines. Sometimes using a ruler to help you line up the main terms and subterms can ensure that you're interpreting the indentions correctly. The other aspect that the alphabetical index contains are cross-references. They direct the coder in what to do. If the word says C next to the main term, then that means you must refer to that reference term because what you're searching for was incorrect. If there's a C also, that's just indicating that there may be a more appropriate code. Let's look at an example. In this example, we can see that the subterms that follow the main term of lump would be abdominal, breast, and chest. But look at that cross-reference that says see also mass. In this example, what that means is that although we can find abdominal lump, there may be a best fit code or a better fit code if we look under mass and abdominal. There's also notes boxes. These are very important and they are italicized instructions and they are generally in a grayed out box or green depending on your codebook publisher. And they provide important information on selecting the proper code. Here's an example. If we code epilepsy and we look under there, and do that in your alphabetical index right now. So you'll see that there's epilepsy, epileptic, and in parentheses, idiopathic. Remember, idiopathic would be the non-essential modifier. So what we're saying here is that if we had idiopathic epilepsy, we would still refer to code 345.9. But then we would need to look down in our box where it's telling us, oh, here's 345.9, I need a 5th digit, either a 0 or 1. The alphabetical index also instructs us as when to use multiple codes. When there are brackets, that means we must use both codes. So for gouty episcleritis, we would use 274.89 and 379.09. Also, sometimes a second code is needed when there's an organism specified, such as the example here. We would use both 599.7 and 120.0. There's some other indexes that are also included in our codebook. Immediately after your Z entry in the alphabetical index is something called the Table of Drugs and Chemicals, and after that one is the Index to External Causes. We are going to learn much more about these when coding these individual sections in Chapter 4. But for now, we want you to remember that they're located here so that when we get to them, you'll know how to find them.